So anyhow, we're resuming the concept that we're talking about. Really, I mean, I don't really know what you could say is the really, because sometimes the tangent happens to be like what you really need. The journey is about the actual journey. So I don't know. Maybe you could say that this is actually the essence of the entire, Kuntreis, is to bring out the points about davening. Maybe you can make that point. But right now, what we're discussing is the concept of pnimius, as in like in the whole scheme of things. We're discussing the concept of pnimius and how Yidden are connected to Hashem in a way of pnimius, in a more internal way. There are external aspects in the world, and in those aspects, nothing really matters. And Hashem can give a lot of hashpah or a little hashpah. It doesn't really make a difference. And this is the level that Goyim receive from in general. And Yidden are supposed to receive in a way of pnimius, in an internal way, in a way that Hashem is invested in and that Hashem cares, etc., etc. And that's why there's so many rules and nuances in Torah and mitzvahs, because anything that's an pnimi, we said 4 reasons why anything that's an pnimi needs to come in a measured way. It needs to come with measuredness. But then we started talking about the concept of davening, that when a Yid davens, he's able to connect his pnimius to Hashem's pnimius, and that's why sometimes a person calls out when they're davening. And now we're going to discuss a little bit the concept of davening a little bit more in this. So v'hinei, the parak beis, I don't know what page it is, but parak beis. All right. V'hinei tamasi v'sadavar mashal idei atzaka b'kil gadol me'irim es b'chinas pnimius v'atzmos erin seif baruch hu. So the reason why, through calling out with a loud voice, we're able to arouse the inner aspect of Ein Seif Ulesed Bihi L'Chira Any Movin taken in L'Chira. This concept isn't the taken. What this concept is doesn't make any sense. Because by Hashem everything is equal, because everything is equally nothing relative to Hashem. There is a hevdel im ispalul b'lachesh ebekel. What difference does it make if a person calls out with, or doesn't call out, but speaks in a whisper, or if a person calls out with a loud voice? Umahu are yisrin to kill gadol. What's the advantage of a loud voice? Haloya ikr hi tefillah. The ikr is the davening. So actually, it says in Shulchan Aruch that if a person davens and they think, I mean, it's not just from Shulchan Aruch, it's also from Shas, if I'm not mistaken. But it's halach psuk in Shulchan Aruch that if a person davens and they think that their davening was so much with kavanah, etc., and this is going to cause Hashem to fulfill their davening, they're making like a laughing stock out of Hashem. They're making a laughing stock chas v'shalom, but that's not what it is. It's that Hashem answers tefillahs regardless of how much kavanah it is. There's no amount that you can daven so well that's going to say like Hashem He needs to answer your tefillah. There's no level of davening like that. You daven to Hashem because you're connected to Hashem and you tell Him everything that goes on in your life. And Hashem gives you what you daven for because Hashem is Hashem. And even though there's nothing that you could say to Him that would possibly force Him that He needs to, but Hashem loves you, and so Hashem will give you anyway. Whether it's in a revealed way or if it's in a concealed way, every tefillah comes to fruition, but sometimes it's concealed. But every tefillah comes to fruition in some way, and sometimes even years later you can get to appreciate how a certain tefillah came to fruition. If you're zeichem, maybe when Mashiach comes, but anyhow.
But that's not to say that someone, like when you see people that sit down and they cry while they daven and they just spend hours davening, that's not to say that they're doing something wrong.
No, but if they're coming with the mindset that because they're sitting and they're crying for hours, that's going to make the tefillah is going to be more answered, yeah, that's doing something wrong.
Okay.
We're talking and we're acknowledging in the question that there is an advantage to davening with a big chayes, that there is an advantage to davening with a kil gadol. But with that acknowledgement comes we need to understand why. Because as far as the scheme of things goes, seemingly it shouldn't make a difference. As long as you daven, that's the main thing. So achon, the concept is that this given point is what answers the question. Because seeing as the main point is the davening, tefillah and yana ichud v'skashros, and the concept of tefillah is the unification and connection of a Yid and Hashem. And that is to say that through the davening, the neshama becomes connected to godliness. Because of this inspires that the davening needs to be with a great voice. Because this is a sign, it demonstrates the fact that his soul is intimately connected to Hashem in a true way. And that it's true that from the beginning until the end, there's one, it goes in one line. Everything that's revealed is only everything that's revealed by a person is only one portion of what's concealed inside of them. And the concept of the truth that gets revealed is that the essence of a person, the true existence of a person gets revealed. And because when a person reveals their essence, it comes with a great feeling from the depths of the heart and from the inner aspects of the heart. And therefore, it expresses itself with a great sound. So, it's like a little bit the Rebbe Rashab is known for run-on sentences. I just want to make sure that we're a little bit clear before going on. It's not saying that you need to have the Kil Gadol, you need to cry out by davening, and that affects the davening, and that makes the davening be good. It's saying, no. It's a sign when a person calls out with the Kil Gadol, it's a sign that they're expressing the inner aspect of themselves. It becomes emotional in a sense. It reaches the depths of their heart. And the fact that it reaches, it's not that the symptom of reaching the depths of the heart is what makes it feel good. It's not that calling out with a loud voice makes it feel good. A lot of people seem to miss this point. Some people, they're very expressive when they're davening, but they're not expressive when they're davening because they're very invested in it. They're expressive in their davening because they think that what you're supposed to do is be expressive in your davening. Davening is supposed to be that you're connecting that you're reaching to the inner aspect of your heart and you're connecting to Hashem. That naturally causes that a person will call out with a loud voice. So again, it's not that the loud voice makes the davening good; it's that the davening good makes the loud voice. It says in the Zayar, the Ruach I see Ruach, Amshech Ruach, that a spirit a spirit brings a spirit and it draws a spirit. Seeing as it's the entire primius of him, it's the entire inner aspect of the person, he's able to call the inner essence of Erin Seif. Like a spirit. One spirit calls out to another, like it says in the Zohar, one spirit calls out to another spirit. His inner spirit is able to call out to Hashem's spirit. And because of this, they have the ability to call out the depths of their heart, so that it should be revealed, so that the primius should be revealed, so that the inner aspect should be revealed. And because they're able to reveal their primius, because the Yid is able to reveal their inner aspect, they're able to reveal the inner aspect of Hashem. They're able to draw it down. And they're able to receive ashbal from, like we were talking about in previous Maimarim, from the primius of the makif, from the inner aspect that Hashem, even in the level of Seviv, still cares about Yidden. But from the level of chitzonis of makif, but from the external aspect where Hashem is kaviyachol apathetic to what happens in the world, they're not able to receive. Because Yidden are in shayach to this level of chitzonius. And particularly goyim zara, they're able to receive from this level of chitzonius hamakif. Because everything that they receive, all the nurturing that they receive from Hashem, is in a more external way. They're important for the world, but they're not the primus kavanah. They're not the intention of why the world was created. Al Yisrael, but Yidden ikarim v'sharsham me'bechinas haprimius. Their main part and their source is from the level of primius. And they receive their sustenance from there. And they do not receive from the external level. Makes sense? Any questions so far? Right. And therefore, when sinners receive their punishment in Golos, and they're put down, etc., until they return to Hashem, and they call out with an inner call from the depths of their heart, then they're able to arouse great level of mercy from the source of Hashem's mercy, which is the primus of the makif. We could discuss a lot about that, but that's not the ikar for right now. but they're able to call, they're able to arouse the source of mercy. And it turns out that, and again, don't forget this pasuk, it's very important, that when a person reassures himself in his heart, that he's going to have peace because he's going to go in the way of his heart. That he reassures himself he's going to receive from Hashem's apatheticism, that Hashem doesn't care about what happens in the world. He's going to receive from the Chitzeni Samakiv Kumei Klipis Fitter Acharash Megbim Sasmam Lekabil Nisham Ukumei Akum Lamata, that they're going to receive like the Klipis and the other side, the side that isn't holy, that they raise themselves to receive from there, and like Gayim below Shenimshach Gribei Ashba Misham Bli Cheshbein, that they receive a large amount of sustenance without any reckoning. He thinks that he's going to be like them. So the fact that he thinks he's going to be like them, Ushaker Gomer, it's complete falsehood. It's only that he's deceiving himself. And he fools himself that he thinks that he's able to receive sustenance from this level of Chitzenius of Makif. Because Yidden cannot receive from this level of Chitzenius Makif, but rather from the Pnimis Makif, rather from the Pnimis of Seder Shalshalos. And in the source that's from the Pnimis of the Makif, as we mentioned before. And over there, the sustenance comes in a measured way. It comes in a way of judgment and reasoning. And therefore, it's forced that it should be broken off. As in the relationship that a Yid has with the Chitzenis of Makif. Even a Yid can receive in a short-term way from Chitzenis of Makif, but it's not a sustainable transmission. Therefore, we see that many wicked people, that they're initially successful, and afterwards their success just disappears, it gets cut off, because everything is according to this reasoning. And the fact that they have success initially, is for two reasons. And the first way that it could be is because it's possible that they actually did something good, and that they're receiving the reward for doing good in this world. He says it's like of the things that a person eats their payers in this world, that he enjoys the fruits that the good deeds produce in this world. While the main thing is like a tree, that the tree produces fruit, you can enjoy the fruits now, but you also own the body of the tree. And that the body of the tree is like the reward waiting in Elam Haba. So that's one way that they could have good in this world, because they're receiving takeh from something good that they did. And Abez, lost the place. Abez the Indian is par la'el. Second thing is, as we said before, the Cholzman Shalein Nevat Chela Katev Shalai Hareklipis Yenkes Haliday Tsefes Chayes Minaktusha Vu Neitel Chelik Bureish Kanal. And the second way is that it's possible that as long as the good portion in a person hasn't been lost, as long as the neshama isn't lost, etc., the klipos, when a person does an avera, when a person does bad things, it causes nurturing for the klipos. It causes that the klipos are able to receive sustenance. So the klipos nurture through him. And he receives the first portion of this. So he's receiving from the klippos. And from this, he's able to have a great amount of sustenance in a physical sense. And then, after this breaks off, ultimately, because it's not a sustainable relationship, so the sustenance gets cut off, and he becomes poor, or has suffering, and he's distanced from other creations. Because most rich people are people with not good midas, or even bad midas. It's not just, there's a difference between having bad midas and having a lack of midas which are good. They have both a lack of midas which are good, and sometimes they even have bad midas. They have a lot of self-love and a lot of haughtiness. And all of this is when he's in his riches. A lot of people love rich people. Even though a lot of these people know that people respect their wealth, they don't respect them. They only respect the money. But they're so like turned in their understanding of themselves until the point that they're haughty the lashon is yoiz ba'avasai. It's a lashon from Pasuk of Tehillim, but they're like haughty in their existence. Aval kasher ivdim es ashram v'nasim aniyim, but when they lose their wealth and they become poor, az him makirim muhosam hamoli mume b'nei adam v'cheser neseim. Only then do they become aware of their essence. Do they become aware of what they are, and they become aware that they're filled with blemishes that people have and their lacks. They didn't realize before because people were respecting their money, and they were able to convince themselves that the reason why people respect them is not just because of their money, but that really they're also just a good, upstanding person, etc., etc. Once they lose the money, they come to realize, wait a second, I have a lot of problems with myself. So Lias ki ashpal Yisrael mechinas primius shabal b'din mecheshvin, because the sustenance comes to Yidden through the level of primius, through an internal way that must come through judgment and reasoning and calculation. So im loy shehu me'ela shenamar aleim, if it's not from these that it says about them, that Hashem repays His enemies to their face to destroy them. That is to say that they don't have any merit left at all. But if he has some kind of merit and he's still included in Klal Yisrael, it's impossible that he will not receive his sustenance without a reasoning. Everything is with a calculation. Because of the level of Pnimius, the Sham Hu Sharshay Makare. Because the person's source is in Pnimius. Makes sense? Any questions? I see you nodding a little bit.
I think I understand.
Okay.
It just seems like, I don't know, it seems like people who are wicked but get repaid not for the wickedness but for the good things they do in this world, to the rest of the world it looks like they're doing a good thing. Like the people that don't understand the life after, they look and they just go, well, they must be an incredible person. We'll use the example. They look how much money they have, even though they stole it all from so many people.
So it's like to state the obvious kind of, but I think that people should, instead of looking at if a person has a lot of wealth as the yardstick of what makes a good person, we should look at people's deeds and see if that makes them. That should be.
I know it's exactly what it's saying here, and I get it, but it's just that. We understand, that's what I'm saying, that's also the person who understands the afterlife. They understand that there's something beyond just the physical world here. But I'm talking the general public. The general public who has no...
Oh yes, the general public is mistaken. I'll say that.
Yeah, but it's like...
I know it's hard to go against the trend. I don't like to...
No, not going against the trend. It's hard to then convince them, because... Not even convince them, but they would just look at it and go, that doesn't make any sense. Because look at this person, they're living the best life ever. So they look at their social media page, for example, just because that's how people judge each other at the moment, is they look at, they're travelling all around the world, look how nice their house is, look how many cars they have.
I think that anyone that looks at a social media page of people that are traveling around the world and have a good life, and they think that that's a good life, I can't tell a person that just isn't thinking straight. Like, I hear what you're saying, it's just such a person, like, it's literally just not thinking straight. It is the vast majority of people. But this is how it works. We're sitting here learning this because we're trying to have a little bit of a godly understanding of how the world works. This is not. I don't even need to bring religion into this to say that looking at couples on Instagram or whatever it is isn't that's not. I don't. I'm sorry. I actually made an Instagram once to follow my uncle, who's a shliach. He asked if I could make an Instagram to follow him, but I don't Instagram at all, whatsoever.
I guess it's like the saying of Hashem put all the mitzvahs in a book and put the sins on the street, and that's why.
This is when we said this. It's readily available, and that's why so many people go for it. But it doesn't make it the ultimate good. It just means that, for Goyim, this is what it is. They're part of the world. and it's not a negative thing for a guy to indulge in. I mean, what we say is taivas iser. A guy can eat a bacon cheeseburger on Yom Kippur, and the Eibush doesn't bat an eye. It doesn't make a difference. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And obviously, there's wickedness as far as going go too. But ultimately, the point is that a yid cannot be connected in this way, and this is why it's unfortunate sometimes yidden do connect in this way, and they have a lot of material good, but ultimately they end up not appreciating it in the long run. Either it's because it's using up their merits that they have, that they should be enjoying in Adam Haba, or it's that they're just receiving from the clippers, but that it's not a good relationship, and ultimately it comes to an end.
I have
So,
a
yeah.
question, but we're running.
Yeah, we're running a little bit.